Rent prices in Canada have dropped for the last 13 consecutive months, and we're seeing some of the lowest rental demand in years. And this decline won't affect everyone equally. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna share who this decline will affect the most, and believe me, it's gonna pack a punch. But first, in this video, let's break down why I believe rent prices are gonna crash in 2026 and we're gonna see a major correction. We have seen over a full year of rental price drops, national averages falling every single month compared to the year before. That alone tells you how much the rental market is weakening. And it gets deeper. And the biggest rental price drops are happening in places in Canada where most people wouldn't expect. And if you take a look at this rental chart, you'll be able to see where it's weakening the most. We have British Columbia is down 5.8%, Alberta is down 5.3%, Vancouver is down 7.4%. And these aren't small changes. These are correction level dips. Those are pretty big. And all the data is showing us that there's actually more to come. Now we also have Ontario, which is down 2.2%, and Quebec, which is down 1.4%. This is important to know because these provinces were the hottest rental markets in the country just a couple of years ago. Now let's get into the part that really signals rental market troubles. This chart right here will show you studio rental prices. These are the condo apartments. You can see right here that studio apartments have plummeted. They have dropped 14.2%. In studio condos, they're always the first to fall because they depend on students, newcomers, and single renters, which are exactly the groups with weakening demand right now. And when studios drop double digits, the rest of the rental market follows. So we're seeing rent collapses in markets, studio condos dropping double digits, but this is just the beginning. The real reason rents are about to tumble even further and why 2026 is going to be a major turning point comes down to three key factors. And this is what I actually think is going to be the 2026 rental price cooker. The first one is that the supply wave is coming. Thousands of rental units that were delayed during COVID are finally being completed in 2026. Once these units hit the market, there is going to be a plethora of rental demand for people to choose from. And with the weakening rental demand that there is out there, this can cause a really big problem. And one of the biggest issues is when condo developments are being finished, which I've actually seen time and time again, that's put a lot of stress on investors and landlords, is when they close those properties, they actually close them all at once, which means the investors, the landlords get possession of those properties at the same time. So each building has 10s, 20, 30, 40, hundreds of rentals within that building that are all the exact same, they're all the exact price, and there's just a ton of them out there, which creates a massive amount of competition, which what I've actually been seeing is landlords offering crazy amounts of incentives just to try to find a good tenant. They're offering gift certificates, they're offering free rent, free Wi-Fi, all sorts of things just to try to find a good tenant. But on the tenant side, the tenant is shopping around because they're saying, hey, I've got so much to choose from right now. I want a better price. I want to make sure that things are on my terms. And that's what we're starting to see today, especially in those condo buildings from the people that purchased them a couple years ago and they're now closing today. So once we see these units hit the market, landlords need to occupy them quickly. Vacant units equals carrying costs. Carrying costs equals pressure to lower rents. And this isn't a small wave. This is one of the biggest deliveries of rental supply in over 20 years. And this will be the single most biggest key factor on why I believe every single month rent prices are going to continue to come down. Now the second part is that demand is weakening. So while the supply surges, the demand is actually falling. Canada has fewer international students coming to the country, visa approvals are tighter, and schools are enrolling fewer students. This was a massive, massive part of the rental demand. Students were coming in from other countries and they were looking for places to rent. They were staying here for 2, 3, 4 years for school, and we're seeing a lot less of that today. International students are one of the biggest drivers of rental demand. So when fewer students arrive, the rental market feels it immediately. So with that slower population growth, we're not seeing the same numbers that we saw in 2022 and 2023. Slower population growth equals fewer renters competing for units. Now we also see shared rental accommodations are dropping fast. Those are rooming houses, those are student rentals, those are co-living spaces. And you can see this is down over 8.1% nationwide and over 10% in BC. And there's a reason why this is a big factor. When shared accommodations are dropping like this, it actually shows you that there's not as much rental demand and tenants aren't fighting for rental units. There's more option out there and they're getting their private spaces. And this is another big reason why rents are gonna drop in 2026. A couple years ago, even 1 year ago, when I was taking clients out for showings to find a place to lease, I was actually seeing open houses in the market. It was crazy. And we'd go to the property to view the property and multiple people, it was like packed. They were all coming through the door, all interested in that rental price, trying to make offers to the listing agent right then and there. I was seeing landlords holding offers on rental units. That's insane. And they were actually bidding on them going above the actual asking price. Some people were even offering 6 months rent up front, a year up front. The demand was way stronger a couple years ago, and that to me was just insane. So this correction, I'm not surprised this is happening right now, to be honest with you. And that leads into my next point. Affordability hit the ceiling. Rental prices were crazy. That demand was nuts. Rents climbed so quickly from 2022 to 2023 that households have maxed out. People can't afford an additional $150, $200 to $300 a month in rent, and they're staying where they are right now. And I've actually seen a lot of tenants giving notice to their landlords because they see there's cheaper units within their building right now and they're actually shopping around, which also makes sense. And I've also seen it where tenants give notice to their landlord and the landlord says, hey, instead of leaving, can I offer you a rent discount? And believe it or not, I've actually seen a lot of them say yes, because that was the reason why they were shopping around, because right now, in today's time in Canada, that $100 a month, $200 a month that they can save means a lot to households. And right now, I'm actually seeing the exact opposite. I'm seeing landlords now competing for tenants. I've seen units that 2 years ago were rented for $2,700, now rented for $2,000, which is a pretty big decrease. And those changes that I am seeing are the ones that are in the condo buildings where there's so much of them to compete with. But the open houses, the bidding on properties for leases, the multiple offers for leases, those days are over. And I actually expect it to get worse in 2026. I think that it's going to be more in the tenant's favor. When you combined a ton of supply, less rental demand, and people that are feeling maxed out, you get downward pressure on the rental market. So what I believe was 2024 and 2025 was the setup for 2026 rental price crash. And I think 2026 is when that correction becomes unavoidable. So let's talk about who's gonna feel this the most. Landlords that own condos. If you've owned one for a long time, you have a lot of equity in it, then you're more on the safer side. If you're somebody that just bought your condo a couple of years ago or around 2021, or somebody that's closing on a condo that's a new build development, you're going to feel it the most, and you need to be prepared, especially if your mortgage is up for renewal and you were at that 2% rate that you had in that 2021 phase. That's now coming up around that 4% mark. You're gonna see a big difference. There's gonna be a lot more negative cash flow. If you don't wanna feel such pressure, you need to make sure that your property has parking, it has laundry, it has a dishwasher, it has AC, it has all of these things that a tenant wants, especially if you're one of those people that like, I want an A+ tenant, I wanna make sure I have a long-term tenant. People want these things. I've noticed it a lot again with clients that they ask me to lease out a place, I go take a look at it, they're a bit more run down, they don't have a dishwasher, which again, you still can get away with that, but they have no parking and they have no AC. Who wants to live without AC right now in that summertime when it's blistering hot? What I'm getting at is you need to try to give your tenant everything possible within your unit where they can live a comfortable, happy life. They will then want to rent it out and they will want to stay longer. Do some upgrades. It's not like 2021 where you can have a unit that everybody's fighting for regardless of how it looks because of the rental supply back then compared to the demand. That has completely flipped. Now, another reason why tenants are actually avoiding the brand new developments are for one big reason: rent control. When you have a property that's built after November of 2018 here in Ontario, there's no rental control. So people are scared to rent them out because they get that 1-year lease. Then after that 1-year lease, they're nervous that their landlord is gonna boost the rent up to whatever they want. So anything that's built before November of 2018 is subject to rental control, which right now is 2.1% for 2026. So this is another thing. People don't want to move around every single year. And I'm saying these things because landlords, you guys got to prepare for what's to come. You got to put the proper things within your unit. You got to make sure you find those good tenants that want everything within the property so that you're not stuck with a vacant unit, and you got to separate yourself from all that competition that's out there. Now, the next thing that it's going to hit the most, that's going to pack a big punch, is the high-priced market. What we're talking about, what I showed you before, which is Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto didn't get hit as much. But when you have those high-priced markets, what rises the fastest also can end up falling the fastest. And I want to hear from you guys. Comment below what you guys think and let me know if your prediction is the same as mine. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.